afternoon, everyone, and welcome to News 3 Now, live at 4 on this Monday. Hope you all had a good weekend.
How about you? Did you have a good one?
Yeah, pretty quiet, but you got a lot of stuff done.
That's good.
And the weather today, I'll tell you, this is as warm as it's been since last October.
A little touch of summer, but only in Wisconsin can it be summer and winter
and perhaps,
48 hours apart.
Yeah, you never know. So we'll get to the weather in a minute, but first, here's what's making news on this Monday. Patrons of some little free libraries on Madison's east side found more than books. Rose Schmidt shows us some disturbing flyers found inside.
Amanda Quintana has the story of how friends of a murdered Wisconsin Dells woman are rallying to help support the mother's 2-year-old daughter.
And a day after the president's Homeland Security Secretary abruptly quits, more security officials resign. Let's
take a look outside today. We mentioned there might be a little snow on the way. This is what it looks like right now at Elver Park.
Last hanging on. In fact, we might be adding to the pile. Oh, no. Let's hope not. Chris Reese is in the backyard weather patio. A lot of people, a lot of rumors surrounding this snowstorm approaching.
There are some rumors on that. We'll touch on those in a second, but I just want to focus on the good that's out there right now, and those are the warmer temperatures that we have in the picture right now. It's 72 degrees, and that is our high for the day. And the last time we actually saw a high of 72 was back on October 10th. But we are essentially 18 degrees warmer than we should be for this time of the year. Normally highs are right around 54 degrees, and those lows are 1 degree above freezing. We started out 1 degree below 40. Right now, winds out of the south and southwest at 14 miles per hour, so it is breezy as well. You might be able to hear a little bit of that breeze on my microphone right now, but it's a warm wind, folks. It is bringing in some of those warmer temperatures. 77 as you work your way up towards La Crosse, 75 in Prairie du Chien, and check this out. It is 79 in Des Moines, Iowa. They're 1 degree away from 80, and the last time we actually saw an 80-degree temperature, believe it or not, was October 9th, 1 day before we saw the 72-degree day. And then what's funny is on October 15th, it snowed. So hang on to that thought. Temperatures warmer than they were just 24 hours ago. Again, plenty of sunshine out there, and we're going to stay mainly dry going through the rest of this evening with temperatures that are in the 60s. But across parts of the upper Midwest, there are winter storm watches that are in effect right now, and that is a sign of what could come our way by the time we get you towards the middle of the week. And I'm going to be breaking all of that down as we go through Maine weather. In the meantime, we are starting to watch the traffic pick up on the belt line, especially in that eastbound direction. This is at Park Street right now. You see those cars starting to line up, and we are starting to see those slowdowns as well. As downtown on the Isthmus, a couple construction projects did get started this week as well. We'll be tracking the traffic as we go throughout the show. In the meantime, no major issues, but the slowdowns are starting to begin, my friends.
All right, thanks a lot, Chris.
My pleasure.
First at 4, a solidarity cookout is happening on the Isthmus tonight after flyers promoting a white supremacist group were found downtown Madison over the weekend.
Neighbors say this is not indicative of their community, and they want to spread awareness. Rose Schmidt is here now to explain what happened and the response to it. Rose.
Right, so we don't know where these flyers came from, but they appear to promote the group American Vanguard, which the Anti-Defamation League says is a white supremacist group that believes America should be an all-white nation, and that they try to attract American college students. Now, these are the flyers. They read, "Take your country back and free yourself from cultural Marxism." Someone found them in a number of free little libraries on the Isthmus near Lapham Elementary School, and then posted about it on Nextdoor to spread awareness. The president of the Tenney Lapham Neighborhood Association says she's used to seeing signs of inclusion outside houses in the neighborhood, not flyers like this.
It's a kind of neighborhood that's just really tolerant and open, and I think people were also surprised, and some people are upset, as you can see on some of the media.
On News 3 Now at 6, we'll hear from a man who owns a little library along this stretch downtown about what he's seen in his little library in the past. A labor union is organizing that solidarity cookout tonight at 6 at the Tenney Park Shelter, and community members are invited to come and bring food to help celebrate the neighborhood. I also spoke with Madison police about the flyers, but they said they had not been contacted. They do encourage anyone with concerns to give them a call.
All right, Rose, thank you.
Thank you, Rose. Someone broke into the Columbia County Humane Humane Society, stealing money and starting a fire. The sheriff's office says it happened sometime between Sunday afternoon and early this morning. No animals were hurt, but money from the shelter was taken. Staff say several windows were broken and towels were started on fire in the garage. And
a fire that damaged a popular Madison restaurant was caused by spontaneous combustion. That's what the Madison Fire Department determined after investigating a fire last night at Stolze's Deli on Atwood Avenue. It started in the kitchen when towels that contained cooking oil residue, they burst into flames. The fire department report says that the deli staff took 50 small towels used for cooking and cleaning to a laundromat. After washing, the towels were dried at a high temperature for 60 minutes, then placed in wire baskets and stored under a prep table at the restaurant, where they later ignited. Well, friends of the 23-year-old woman killed by her husband in Wisconsin Dells are speaking out, hoping to raise enough money to send her 2-year-old daughter to be with family in the Ukraine.
The body of Tetiana Huzva, known as Tanya, was found by police on Thursday. Her husband, who is in custody, already had 11 pending domestic violence charges from January. Our Amanda Quintana has more on the message from those who knew her best. Amanda?
Yes, well, Tanya was from Ukraine, working in Wisconsin Dells on a J-1 visa. She came here 4 years ago at age 19. She had been working at the candy store Goody Goody Gumdrop, where her coworkers say they became her family here in America. She got married and had a daughter. They tell me she was happy and always smiling, but quiet. This past summer, something changed. Then she quit her job, and in February, she told her friend Ashley there were problems at home.
And I knew he hit her and he choked her, and she was scared, but she didn't know like what to do too in the same time, you know, like when you're not in that position, you don't know.
Although Tanya hid a lot of the violence at home, her work family feels guilty now, wishing they could have done more. Now they're focused on trying to help her 2-year-old daughter, Sabina, raising money for Tanya's parents to come take her and Tanya's body back to Ukraine. Her friends, the only people Sabina knows as her family now, have not been able to see the little girl. They believe she is in foster care. Police told them she is safe. We will have a link to the GoFundMe page to raise money for her return to Ukraine on our website, Channel 3000.
Victim. All right, Amanda, thank you.
3 American service members and a contractor were killed today by an improvised explosive device in Afghanistan. 3 other American service members were wounded in the attack, which happened near Bagram Air Base. The FBI is still trying to figure out if the Chinese woman who snuck her way into the president's Mar-a-Lago resort is a spy. During the bail hearing today, the prosecutor said they weren't ready to call Yujing Zhang a spy, but he says there are a lot of unanswered questions. The 32-year-old Zhang was arrested for lying her way through some security checkpoints in late March until a receptionist realized she wasn't on the guest list. She was found carrying a thumb drive with malware and multiple passports and cell phones.
More Trump administration national security officials are stepping down one day after the Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kirstjen Nielsen said she's resigning. The departures are likely a part of the White House's hardline push on immigration and the swell of migrants at the southern border. Natalie Brand has more from the White House.
U.S. Secret Service Director Randolph Tex Alice is leaving the Trump administration. In a statement, White House Press Secretary Sarah Sanders said Alice has done a great job at the agency over the last 2 years, and the president is thankful for his over 40 years of service. His ousting comes just a day after Homeland Security Secretary Kirstjen Nielsen's resignation was announced.
I share the president's goal of securing the border. I will continue to support all efforts to address the humanitarian and security crisis on the border.
A senior official also confirms that several other Homeland Security officials are leaving. The departures come as presidential advisor Stephen Miller is spearheading a massive overhaul of the Department of Homeland Security. The numbers of migrants at the southern border, particularly women and children, have surged. The administration says it's at crisis level. But Democratic lawmakers have blamed the administration for making the humanitarian crisis worse, pointing to the past zero-tolerance policy at the border that led to family separations last summer. Customs and Border Protection Commissioner Kevin McAleenan will take over as acting DHS secretary.
The president works very well with Kevin McAleenan. He's done an incredible job in the administration, and we expect that relationship and the work to continue.
In addition to McAleenan, Energy Secretary Rick Perry and former Acting Attorney General Matt Whitaker could be in the running to replace Nielsen.
On Capitol Hill, Natalie Brand for News 3 Now.
And James Murray, a career Secret Service official, has been named to take over as director of his agency beginning in May. DHS Secretary Nielsen is expected to officially leave her post on Wednesday.
Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders is surpassing his rivals in early fundraising and establishing himself as an indisputable frontrunner for the Democratic presidential nomination. Sanders raised more than $18 million in the first fundraising quarter, far outpacing his rivals. Sanders will be visiting Madison this Friday afternoon as he plans to hold rallies in battleground states this weekend. Sanders will be at James Madison Park for a rally on Friday. It starts at 5 o'clock.
Actress Felicity Huffman is apologizing for taking part in the college admissions bribery scheme and has agreed to plead guilty. Huffman said today in her first public comment since her arrest last month that her daughter didn't know about her actions. She says her desire to help her daughter is, quote, no excuse to break the law. Huffman was accused of paying $15,000 to rig her daughter's exam score. Authorities say she has agreed to plead guilty to a charge of conspiracy to commit mail fraud and honest services mail fraud.
A California woman kidnapped while on safari in Africa is safe. 5 days after being taken hostage at gunpoint in Uganda, freed American tourist Kimberly Sue Endicott started her journey home. Security forces found Endicott and her tour guide Sunday across the border in the volatile Democratic Republic of Congo. 4 armed gunmen attacked the pair last week while on safari in Queen Elizabeth National Park. Tourists at the popular safari park say the incident won't stop them from enjoying their trip.
Feel safe with the personnel here, and I think everything is well organized.
The kidnappers demanded $500,000 in ransom, and sources tell CBS News at least some of the money was paid, but it's unclear who paid it. The U.S. has a policy not to negotiate with hostage takers, and Ugandan authorities say it wasn't them. The abductors managed to escape after the rescue, and Ugandan forces are still searching for them.
Oh, and Live at 4 continues. We're heading to the movies with our Will Loper.
We'll find out what Will thinks of the new superhero movie, Shazam. That's coming up when Live at 4 continues.
Get what?
Welcome back. There's a safety warning about a popular baby device.
It is the Fisher-Price Rock and Play Baby Rocker. 10 infants have died after they rolled onto their stomachs or sides in the cradle since 2015. The Consumer Product Safety Commission says parents should stop placing babies in the rocker once they are 3 months old or when they've started to roll over. Fisher-Price said the Rock and Play sleeper meets all applicable safety standards.
Stocks were mixed on Wall Street. The Dow Industrials lost 83 points as Boeing's woes mount. It's now slashing production of the troubled 737 MAX airplanes. The NASDAQ, however, added 15. The S&P 500 was up 3.
Say my name so my powers will become yours. Shazam. Chosen one. Oh, you're like a bad guy, right?
You literally did the opposite of what a superhero is supposed to do.
You're welcome for not getting robbed. I'm bad guy. Get him back in! How old are you? Basically 15.
Wow. That was a clip from Shazam, one of the newest movies to hit theaters.
Does the superhero movie fly, or does it need more training? Here to let us know what he thinks is our film critic, Will Loper. That looks pretty exciting.
Oh, and it is. And let me tell you guys, Shazam gets rid of all that bleak, grim seriousness that have weighed down past DC films and learns how to have fun again. It's a joy to watch. You'll walk out of the theater feeling like a kid again. So a 14-year-old orphan named Billy, he's constantly on the run trying to track down his mom. He ends up in a foster home with several other orphan kids who try to become his friend, but he keeps them at a distance. While on the subway one night, he finds himself in the company of an old wizard who tells him he will be his new champion and must say his name to become the big beefcake hero, Shazam. Now, this is exactly like Big with Tom Hanks, except with more flying, punching, and lightning bolts. What sets this superhero film apart is that because we see it through the eyes of a kid, we have that utter joy of discovery any adolescent would feel if suddenly granted super strength and the ability to do anything. It's also got heart. The relationship between the orphans feels real, and it's a new perspective, too. Instead of pulling further from everyone after losing parents like Bruce Wayne or Batman might do, this is a movie about coming together and creating a new family.
Having fun.
Having fun. I mean, this movie is just a blast at the theater.
Is this one of the movies that adults will enjoy as much as kids?
Absolutely. Everyone's going to get a kick out of this. Now, this is rated PG-13, but there's 2 sequences that really make it a PG-13 rating. I thought the whole film was really great for kids to go and see, but those are really scary and violent, just 2 sections. So
well, that's good to know about.
Think about bringing them before that, yeah.
So what's the rating?
I give it 4.5 Faith Hermans out of 5. She plays one of the orphans and just tugs on the heartstrings every time she's on screen.
It's a winner.
I loved it.
Let's say it together. Shazam! All right, up next.
It still looked like me. What the heck?
Here, it didn't work. All right, up next, Pet Sematary.
Pet Sematary. Bit of a shift here. So Jason Clarke, he plays Lewis Creed, a man who moves out to the country with his family and discovers a little graveyard for pets. Now, after the family cat dies, his neighbor, played by John Lithgow, shows Lewis where to bury the cat so he'll come back to life. Only problem is the cat comes back not quite the same. Now it has a mean streak, it bites, it scratches, it smells bad. Now once somebody close to Lewis dies, well, you can probably guess where he buries it and what happens next. Now this is based on the Stephen King novel of the same name, and something got lost in translation along the way because this film is bland, lifeless, and has none of the bite of a good Stephen King adaptation like It from 2017. I say bury this one in the 10-cent bin and make sure it does not come back to life.
Yikes.
Not good.
Not good, apparently. What's
scary?
What's the rating?
1.5 Pet Sematary books out of 5. I say just stick to the novel.
And this was a movie before, wasn't it?
It was a 1989 film as well. I never saw it. I didn't hear great things about that one either, so maybe we should stop making movies out of Pet Sematary.
Stick with the book, like you say.
All right, skip that one, but see Shazam.
See Shazam.
All right, next week.
Missing Link. It's Zach Galifianakis voicing a Bigfoot-type creature, and Hugh Jackman is the explorer who finds him.
That could be fun.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
We'll see. All right, thanks, Will.
Thank you, guys.
We'll be right back.
You're watching News 3 Now, live at 4.
Take a look at this. Florida scientists made a colossal capture. This female Burmese python is more than 17 feet long, weighs about 140 pounds. Most of these snakes are between 6 and 10 feet long. State officials say there are roughly 100,000 python swamps outside Miami, and they pose a threat to the local wildlife. She had 75 eggs in her, too.
That's incredible. Wow.
Absolutely insane.
That's why I don't live in Florida, right there.
Exactly. Apricot blossoms are a sure sign that spring has sprung in northern China. Outside of Beijing, blooming apricot flowers are all over the hills and turn the place into a picturesque wonderland. Streams of visitors gather along the Great Wall to take in the sights and the smells of delicate flowers. And then coming up, we'll meet the crew that keeps the cherry trees and their blossoms healthy in Washington, D.C.
That is just spectacular.
It is.
The Great Wall and blossoms.
Beautiful time of the year.
It really is. And there's beauty in everything. Of course, today a beautiful day, and we're watching the middle of the week, and we will try to find beauty in that. That's what we're going to look for. But I've got your full forecast coming up. You don't want to go anywhere. Well, it is April 8th, and April 8th is a special day just because that is on average when we start to see our first 70-degree day, and today we did that. We've made it 72 so far, and the last time we saw temperatures around 70 or above 70, that was October 10th, where it was 72, and oddly enough, the day before that, the temperature was in the low 80s. October was a wild month for us. It then snowed a couple days later. So far, we are right on pace with our first 70-degree day. Our first 80-degree day typically comes around May 5th, which is not too far away. We'll see how that shapes up for us. But our temperatures for highs today today, 18 degrees warmer than where we should be for this time of the year. A surge in the warmth, that's for sure. Our low this morning, 1 degree below 40, and temperatures are still in the low 70s out there right now. Check out Boscobel, 78 degrees, or another way to look at that, 2 degrees away from 80. There's a lot of warmth across the western half of the state right now, and these temperatures are substantially warmer than they were 24 hours ago. A big warm up coming in right now before the cold front begins to knock those temperatures down just a little bit, along with clear blue skies out there, folks. Certainly a great evening to be outside if you can. Those winds are coming out of the south and southwest at 14 miles per hour. That's what's helping to usher in those warmer temperatures. 22-mile-per-hour winds as you work your way over towards Mineral Point and Platteville. We'll keep the strong winds around into the afternoon and evening. Pay attention to that direction. Initially coming out of the south and west, yes, but as we move into tonight, we are going to switch that wind direction into a brisk breeze coming out of the north and west. So that's a cold front that's going to be moving into the picture. That's going to knock our temperatures down just a little bit as well. The only signs of that cold front, other than the wind, is going to be a little stripe of cloud cover that may come in right around dinner time. That'll push on through. Here come those winds taking over out of the northwest, and then temperatures will begin to fall as we move into the overnight hours. Expect those overnight lows, folks, to be right around 42 degrees or so. Then into your Tuesday, only topping out around 55 to 60 degrees, depending on where you are. A little bit warmer towards the south and west. But clouds are going to be on the increase Tuesday night, and then into Wednesday, you see what's coming from the south and west. This is the big rumor that everyone has been talking about. We are essentially watching a storm system that is coming ashore right now. It's got some rain throughout parts of Washington, through Oregon and Northern California. That system is essentially going to track across the nation as a whole, become east of the Rockies, and then begin to strengthen as it works its way towards the Great Lakes. So let's go ahead and put this into motion on our models for you. You see this storm gathering strength, perhaps starting out as a little bit of snow for us here in Wisconsin. And then initially, this warm front should bring in just enough warm air to turn things over to cold rain for us. So let's zoom this on in a little bit closer. This is Wednesday afternoon. You see that snow falling through much of Wisconsin, and especially into Thursday. But then here comes the mix, and then that transition over towards rain as we go through Thursday. Meanwhile, a big blizzard throughout northern Wisconsin, parts of Minnesota, back through the Dakotas and parts of Nebraska as well before that pulls away. We're not looking at a lot of snow from this. The models that I'm going to show you are some of the most aggressive models out there, although they're all kind of in this ballpark. Generally, we may see, and again, I do think this is highly overdone, about an inch or two, really, on the leading edge of that, and that's going to be a slushy inch or two. Now, there is a model that is a little bit farther towards the south, and that's why we have to watch this low track so closely, because if this storm shifts farther towards the south in any way, shape, or form, we could see more significant snow around here. And so this is what that model shows with a shift to the south. We will watch this very closely as we go through time. But of course, it doesn't come as a big shock. In fact, on these days, back in 1973, there was a large blizzard across parts of Wisconsin that gave Madison 13 inches of snow, a foot of snow in Milwaukee. You had wind gusts near 50 miles per hour. And then last April, that was also a snowy period around here. We had a record snowfall on April 18th of over 7 inches. It was the second snowiest April on record, only behind the same April in 1973 where that blizzard happened. So of course, this is not a big surprise. It snows in April in Wisconsin around here, but we're going to watch the track of that low very closely. Another thing to be mindful of is just the system as a whole has a lot of moisture with it. We're talking 2 to 3 inches of just liquid precipitation. So even if this comes down as all rain, that is just going to aggravate the wet ground and cause more flooding issues. So no matter how you slice it, the storm is going to be something that we want to pay close attention to because of its potential impact on our weather. Another thing, we're still having that tornado drill as we get into Thursday. Yes, the weather is going to be active, but it is Severe Weather Awareness Week. So that tornado drill that is scheduled for Thursday is still scheduled to take place starting at 1 o'clock, and then another test tornado warning at 6:45 on Thursday. So it is a busy weather week, folks. We got the whiplash coming into town. But as we go towards the weekend, that's where things get a little bit better for us. You get to take that deep breath. We'll see temperatures a little bit colder But sunshine is expected for Saturday and Sunday before warming things up by next Monday, back into the 60s to above average for temperatures and perhaps some light chances for rain. But I think all action right now, or all eyes, especially after this afternoon, are going to be focused on what we see on Wednesday.
Keep an eye on that track.
You kept your shovel out, right?
My shovel's still out.
My shovel is still in my car. So,
okay.
So it's all those people who put their snow blowers away.
Steve, Dennis.
But yeah, watch the track of that low real close. Some of the models have tried to shift it a little bit farther towards the south in the past couple runs as well.
And it won't last long.
It'll melt quickly.
It will melt so fast. That's the beauty.
All right, Chris, thank you.
Thanks, Chris.
Well, back to spring now. The cherry blossoms are at their peak in the nation's capital.
While the tourists enjoy the blooms, they probably don't realize the effort it takes to make sure the trees dazzle visitors every year. Inez de la Crutara shows us how.
You're not supposed to touch the trees, but these guys can. And do all year round.
Different things have to be done at different times of the year. Looking good, guys.
This is the team that works for months on end to bring you this. The National Park Service arborists say keeping the trees healthy isn't easy.
If you walk around the tidal basin, you'll see it gets a lot of foot traffic. The root systems themselves get compacted.
And beyond that,
you'll just see a series of stumps. That whole ridge there actually used to be cherries. This area is inundated on a pretty regular basis, and this tree in particular is already showing some stresses from being an inundation.
Some of these guys have been caring for these trees for 32 years.
You want to be the one that when it's on your watch, you're doing it well. And given some of the soil challenges we have here with all the foot traffic, etc., it's an even more incredible thing.
So every year when the trees reach peak bloom,
it's a gratifying result. You know, when you manage the cherries on the National Mall, the crew is entwined in what I would say is the American national epic. And so every year when this occurs, given the history of it, there's that feeling of being sewn into something greater than yourself, a collective achievement. And you can see that pride on the crew's face.
The average tree lasts about 25 years old in the wild, but some of these are more than 100 years old because they're so well taken care of.
And how long do you have to see the blossoms in DC?
I think like 3 or 4 weeks.
No?
It's not that long. Oh, okay. I don't know.
It's short, so you have to seize the day.
What do they do with all those cherries? That's got to be a mess.
That's another good question. Yeah.
More questions than answered this afternoon. New recommendations about breast cancer screening.
When we come back, the debate continues over what age and how often women should get screened for breast cancer. That's when Live at 4 continues.
Welcome back. This is a live shot from our tower camera pointed toward Middleton. You can see some smoke. There's a big grass fire on Highway K. We have a crew on the scene, and we'll have more on that coming up in later newscasts. Well, more debate on breast cancer screening for women.
The American College of Physicians is out with new guidance that says average risk women over 50 should get mammograms every other year. Chris Martinez has more.
49-year-old Norma Vaccarano is diligent about getting a mammogram every year. For her, it's personal.
So one of my aunts was diagnosed with breast cancer about 7 years ago. She passed away last year. So, you know, this is a subject close to my heart.
At what age and how often women should get screened for breast cancer has been a topic of debate in recent years. Now, the American College of Physicians says the majority of average risk women, ages 50 to 74, would benefit from mammograms every other year, and that there would be no significant difference in breast cancer deaths.
The benefit is less than we had hoped.
Dr. Joanne Elmore says annual mammograms can sometimes do more harm than good, from false positive results to unnecessary biopsies and surgeries.
It leads to a lot of anxiety. That can be a really scary situation for women.
In the past decade, doctors have moved away from screening younger women and toward informed decision-making starting at 40. Dr. Elmore says women need to weigh the benefits, harms, and their preference for screening with their doctors.
In the end, this should be the woman's decision. And we should be trying to help women understand all the data and let women make the decision.
Because of her family history, Norma says she'll continue to screen annually.
My doctor was very aware, and she was the one that initiated, you need to do this.
Norma believes it could one day help save her life. Chris Martinez, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Now, the American College of Radiology disagrees with the new guidance, saying that it could result in thousands of unnecessary breast cancer deaths.
But the American Cancer Society says it's not uncommon for recommendations to differ. Its guidelines have also changed in recent years, pushing the start of screening later.
So I guess you have to talk to your doctor. That's the best advice to figure it out.
Yeah, individuals. Well, coming up, they made their headlines on the turf playing football for the University of Wisconsin.
But now their challenge will be shooting hoops. Andy Crooks and John Stocco are in the green room, and we'll explain why they're making buckets, all for a good cause. That's when Live at 4 continues.
We are starting to see at least a couple more brake lights showing up in traffic as we go through the rest of that afternoon commute. This is the Beltline at Park Street right now. Seeing more volume, especially as you work your way in the eastbound direction. Right now, the slowest traffic is from Verona Road all the way towards John Nolan, which is typically where we do see the slowest traffic during that evening commute. Once you pass Verona Road, it starts to slow down towards 13 miles per hour, a little bit of a speed up towards 20 miles per hour as you approach Fish Hatchery. Then right around Rimrock, we're at 19 miles per hour. It does get better, though, as you get past John Nolan Drive. So give yourself a little bit of patience if you're going to be in that stretch. Things are getting better on Verona Road right now. We have some slowdowns there earlier that have somewhat began to improve. But if you are going to be traveling on that Beltline, especially in the eastbound direction from Verona Road to John Nolan, that's the slowest period right now. It's going to take you a little over 15 minutes. Guys?
All right, Chris, thank you. Auburn fans learned a valuable Final Four lesson. Stay till the very, very end. Virginia's Kyle Guy missed a three-point attempt close to the final buzzer, leaving Auburn up 62-60. So Tiger fans rushed to Auburn's campus to celebrate. Hooray! Well, they didn't realize it was a foul was called, sending Guy to the free throw line. He made all three buckets, giving Virginia the victory. As Virginia fans took their turn to celebrate, you could see the Auburn crowd slowly disperse as the bad news spread.
That game was unbelievable. Did you watch that game?
Yeah,
it was incredible.
It was.
And don't forget the national championship is tonight here on News 3.
And there's a great sporting event coming up sponsored by the Easter Seals of Wisconsin.
The Celebrity Basketball Challenge benefits children and adults with disabilities, and it showcases former UW athletes. And we have two of them with us today, both members of the Badger football team. John Stocco was quarterback from 2002 to 2006, and Andy Crooks played linebacker and tight end from 2004 to 2007. Great to see both of you.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Thank you for having us. Thanks for having us.
Andy, you're on the board of Easter Seals, I understand.
That's correct.
Do you have a personal connection to this cause?
My uncle grew up with Down syndrome, and he was a real big part of my life when I was growing up in high school. And, you know, Easter Seals has camp up in Wisconsin Dells, Camp Wide Beak, and he didn't go there, but I know he would have loved it. So that's kind of my personal connection to the cause.
John, what's your connection?
Yeah, so I found out about it through Andy. So he had invited me to play in the golf outing that they have every summer, and had an opportunity to go there and meet some of the campers and meet some of the people involved. And right away, you can get a feel for the impact that this organization makes. So right away, from that point, I knew I wanted to try to be more involved.
It's a wonderful organization. It's great to see you guys still in Madison, still doing something good, which is really wonderful. Tell us how this basketball challenge works. This is the second year, right?
Second year, so we'll have a lot of former football and basketball athletes from UW, from Wisconsin, and, you know, we're just going to be competing against each other. We're not quite sure the teams yet. We're going to be drafting the teams on Wednesday, but just, you know, a lot of competitive guys and a lot of good athletes, and just trying to, you know, raise some money for a great cause.
We've seen some pictures from last year. I would think the basketball guys might have an advantage.
You might think so, but I think the football guys have more to prove out there.
Okay.
Oh, that's true. Well, who won last year, John?
I have no idea who won last year. Do you remember?
Team Town Bank won last year.
So each team is a mix?
Yeah, it's a mix of football and basketball guys. I mean, it wouldn't be fair to those basketball guys to have to compete against, you know, these great football athletes.
So much more physical,
yeah.
for sure, too.
And you raise a lot of money?
We raise a lot of money, you know, just trying to help, you know, youth and adults with disabilities to increase independence and minimize barriers and improve their quality of life. You know, that's our mission.
It looks like you have kids who come out to watch it looked like everybody's having so much fun.
Yeah.
So that must be a big part of it too.
Oh,
you see the kids that you're actually supporting.
No doubt. And like I said, if you have an opportunity to go to the Dells and go to the camp, and you get to meet some of the campers there, and then same thing with the event as well. You really get to see the impact that it has. But it's always good to see a lot of kids at the game too.
And just to get up to speed with you guys, what are you doing now, Andy? What's your?
I'm working as a real estate broker for T.R. McKenzie and in land development, business development.
So in Madison?
Yeah, here in the greater Madison area.
Yep.
And how about you?
And I'm a commercial insurance consultant for Johnson Financial Group, and I'm also here in Madison.
Are you guys still tight with all of your former teammates? Is everybody still very connected?
Yeah, I think you stay in touch with guys who are around, and, you know, you stay in touch with guys who are out of town. You know, you make a lot of friends throughout the process. How about you, John?
Yeah, definitely. We've got different pockets of former teammates that live in different areas, and now that a lot of us have kids, we're trying to figure out, well, should we all try to go to one area together and get all the kids together? So those are the types of conversations that at least I'm having now in my life. So
you any good at basketball?
I can hold my own.
Can anybody come and watch the game, or do you have to buy a ticket?
Yeah, you
to
can
watch
buy
it?
a ticket in advance. You can buy a ticket at the door. You know, had a great turnout last year. Before the game, we have a shot Dr. Skills Academy for you know, kids grades 3 to 6. Coach Gary Close, who is a former Badger coach, and he, you know, just gives kids drills and, you know, helps them work on their fundamentals. So that's before the game. So you can buy those tickets online as well.
All right. Well, good luck. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Here's the specifics. It is Celebrity Basketball Challenge. It's this Saturday at the Madison College Gym. Go to eastersealswisconsin.com/tickets. It's $10 for adults. Students are $5, and 6 and under are free. The shot Dr. Skills Academy is $20. Hope you raise a lot of money. Have a great time.
Great to see you guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Don't hurt anything. We'll be right back with a final check of your forecast. Get out and enjoy this evening.
Yeah, enjoy it. The temperatures are very warm right now, 72 degrees out still.
Perfect.
Folks. So definitely enjoy that. 78 over in Boscobel. As we go through the rest of the evening, we're actually going to stay pretty mild initially before those temperatures drop down towards 42 tonight. Colder tomorrow, though. We're only going to see those highs right around 56, and then we get even colder into Wednesday with highs in the 30s. That's when we could see some snow that goes over to rain before warming back up.
Enjoy this evening.
Yeah, so enjoy this evening.
All right, Chris, thank you.
Thanks, Chris.
Coming up tomorrow here on Live Before, Lisa Briggs from the Bruce Company will be answering your plant and garden questions.
And just in time for spring cleaning, Consumer Reports will tell us how and why it's important to keep your mattress clean. In today's Final Touch, coffee is a form of art.
We're talking lattes so beautiful you don't even want to drink them. Meet Don Tomic. He's a coffee expert and the UK's reigning latte art champion. He's been for the past 6 years. Having started as a barista in Nepal, he eventually moved to London and started training on latte art. After pouring espresso into a cup,